It's good though. It's really good. I enjoy it.
What's the problem that you have going on out there?
Formalities.
Oh my God, how's it going, Gavin? Oh, it's nice to have you on the show, right?
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
Is this my good angle right here? You have all the good angles. Every single angle that you have is a good angle.
This is a good setup.
Hello and welcome. I'm Hayden Larson, joined by Carmelo Ortiz and a very special guest, Gavin Taylor. I want to start off by thanking Samson PR for having us in this incredible studio, and again to our guest, Gavin, for being here. Welcome.
Hey, Gavin, we're so excited that you're here right now, man.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while, so I'm pleased to finally pull it together.
All right, Gavin. To start off this show, to start off this new thing, right, we would like to introduce a new segment that I'd like to introduce as like Keeping the Mellow with Super Mellow. Right?
Keeping the mellow.
Presented by Mimosa Royale right here.
Very nice.
So let's, on behalf of that, let's go ahead and try these things out. This one's for you right here, Gavin.
Thank you.
Crack these up now.
What is this flavor? What we got going on?
I don't know, dude, but these things are the best things ever out there.
Cheers.
Already. Cheers.
Well, that's the way to
That's
do it.
gonna happen.
Oh, that's good.
No, it's really good. The Mimosa Royale.
Oh, this is so good. All right, so let's start off with the questions, Gavin. I got a few questions for you to start off with this show, right?
Is this quick fire style?
So yes, so the way that this works, right, is like first thing that comes into your mind.
Okay. Is a pass allowed, or do I have to give an answer?
Honestly, it's your choice. I would prefer if you answer every single question.
I'll go for
I made
answer.
sure that all these questions were PG, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
you know my kids are going to watch this.
Yeah, no, I got the other ones. Trust me, dude, I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
All right. So the first one is Napa or London?
London.
All right. Coaching or playing?
Playing.
Number one rule that you have in soccer?
Respect the game.
Respect the game.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a saying, respect the game and the game will respect you.
You're a regular at Farmhouse, Napa Bros, right? The place that I work.
100%.
Your favorite drink?
The Mellow Special.
Mellow Special.
The Mellow Special. So it's the decaf, oat milk, half sweet, chocolate mocha with a little bit of orange.
Can I try one of them?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you need it.
How have I not heard about this? Mellow.
It's because it's a one-on-one thing.
Oh,
It's exclusive for Gavin.
well, it's not anymore, I'll tell you that.
No, I'll give him permission to get.
Oh,
I
buddy.
appreciate it.
Your office is next to Ranch Market, right? Obviously. Your favorite sandwich?
Oh, the Forensi.
Friends. And next question. Who makes the best sandwich? Adam Housley or Eric Housley?
I've never had anything made by Adam Housley in my life. It has to be Eric. Actually, that's not true. I've had some Thanksgiving dinners that he does well, but yeah, Eric makes a good sandwich.
All right. Most handsome Housley?
Adam. Aiden. I'll go Aiden.
Wait, who's more handsome between us three?
Definitely you.
You. No, it's Aiden.
You've each got your own attributes. He's got like the cool beard and the man bun going on. You've just got that natural style going on.
All right.
Keep it mellow with mellow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty, I got the next question. You're a local in Napa, right? You're not a local in Napa, but since you're a rival,
Yeah.
soccer in Napa has improved a lot.
Yeah.
What is one key thing that you've done to improve that? One word. Think about it fast.
Structure.
Structure. Okay.
Yeah. Because the talent exists. Like the talent exists 100%, but the structure has improved, not just with the work that we've done at Napa United, but just in the country in general.
Would you ever coach a men's or women's team of 1839 FC?
Yeah, I think maybe at some point in the future, but I spoke about it with like Eric and Josh and the guys. I have a real passion for youth development and then kind of like handing them over to the senior end. And obviously Mark's doing a great job with the team, Ben's doing a great job with the team. It's a real different skill set, you know, like it's a totally different skill set. I enjoy developing players, whereas senior first team football is probably a little bit more results oriented. And that's just a different mindset. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I think never know what the future holds. But right now, the structure for Napa United is solid, 1839 solid. So if it's not broke, it doesn't need fixing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Last question. Are you guys taking it home?
No.
Oh, wow. That was not the answer.
The problem is I've got to be honest.
Okay.
You know, like I don't see England winning the World Cup. However much I'd love it, you know, my heart says I want England to win it, but my head's different. You know, I just don't see England winning the World
All
Cup.
right, one last question then. Who do you think will win the World Cup?
I had a bet with my dad today. He went Argentina, and I wanted to go Argentina, but he went Argentina. So I think I'm going to go Brazil.
Brazil?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'm going to go Brazil.
Everyone, you got it right here. Place your bets right now. The professional guy is saying that Brazil will win. So I would bet on that team.
I've not really stuck my neck on the line though.
Oh.
I've gone with one of the best teams in the history of
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. First time keeping it mellow with Mellow. We might get into some more of that, especially the World Cup, maybe a little later. I want to start off by asking you how you fell in love with the game that you have played and coached. Where did it all start? Just early in your life.
Just family, like I was born in London and my dad played professional, my granddad played and scouted, my nan was obsessed with the game. Like growing up in England and the same in South America, it's a religion. Like it's just absolutely a way of life. It's all I can remember. So from my earliest memories, most of them involve a football.
Gavin, I have this question. Last time I went to watch one of your soccer games, right? And you said something that really struck out to me. You said your team was getting pressed in the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you told your teammates, we know what you're doing, enjoy the ball.
Yeah.
What does enjoying soccer look like to you?
So I think obviously soccer is is a game of the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think coaches and youth sports have tried to over-professionalize it, so we're taking the fun away from the kids. So we don't play the game to chase the ball. We play the game to have the ball. So my way of calming the players down is to just say, enjoy the ball. So rather than me say, Mello, you've got to pass it, Hayden, you've got to pass it, by me shouting out, enjoy the ball, the idea of that is they know that they've got more time than they think they've got. So that's kind of our code word as a group of players and coaches, that if I shout out, enjoy the ball, that's me telling you guys, don't panic. You don't have to play them. Just literally enjoy the ball.
I know, I was there and I felt those words myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit more your position, some of the clubs you played with, and some of your experiences as a player.
Yeah, sure, good stuff. So I grew up on the outskirts of London, and I played for a team called West Drayton Boys Club. So it was like a Napa United type program, run by kind of like local parents and some good coaches. But it was a real like hotbed of players and talent. And then from there, I got opportunities with Queen's Park Rangers and West Ham. And then I signed for West Ham's academy when I was kind of 13 or 14. I was there for a block of years. And then through a variety of injuries, I kind of started to go down the levels. And then I played semi-professional for Bradwell Town, which is a little bit like 1839. But in England and in Europe, the semi-professional levels they're legitimate levels of soccer. So it was a really high level. I loved that. Then I picked up a double break of my left leg, and that kind of curtailed my playing. And I didn't fall out of love with playing, but I started asking questions about what the future would look like, because I was kind of like 18, 19 at the time. So I had to make some big decisions, and an opportunity with Fulham kind of fell in my lap. So I went there to start doing some kind of almost volunteer coaching, and that was when I went down the coaching path.
So, like, at Barnhouse, you and me were talking, and I asked you how does a coach with so much like history of like success end up in Napa, and you ended up saying that the name of Clint Dempsey came out, and Clint Dempsey is it's a U.S. legend, dude. So tell us more about it.
Yeah. So the actual the way Napa fell in our lap was just serendipitous. It's my favorite word in the world, right? A fortuitous accident.
What is it?
Serendipity.
Oh, my vocabulary just got better.
Yeah, no. So like, it's my favorite word, and I try and live a lot of my life by it. So when I left Fulham in the summer of 2015, my wife, who is American, and I were talking about where we wanted to be, and we decided to give the States a chance. So I'd actually done some work in the US through Clint, who'd been at Fulham. So there was a couple of reasons we came out. I started doing work, and then I was almost going to join DC United. So I'd gone to DC United. I'd effectively accepted a job there, and then my wife and I were talking about it, and we just didn't really like the idea of DC. Then randomly I got a call from a former colleague who was about to take a job in Napa, but he had decided not to take it. And he asked me if I'd be interested in talking to the guys. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? I was in Chicago at the time, visiting my wife's grandparents. So they said, would you like to fly out? So I flew out. I met Eric Hauser and a couple of other guys.
Eric Hauser, he first thing started talking and
yeah,
a hard time.
No, he and I just had so many parallel views on youth development, and it was incredible. You know, like to strike up a conversation first of all with a Chelsea fan because he knows I hate Chelsea, but then we started talking about like what Napa could provide and what Napa was about. And I just watched the movie McFarland. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie McFarland with Kevin Costner.
I have not.
It's about a small town in California, and Kevin Costner goes there as the cross-country coach. They've never won anything, and they end up beating like De La Salle and all of these big schools. And Eric and I kind of like just fell in love with the conversation and the poetic opportunity that something like this could bring. And I believe, and this is the saying Eric and I spoke about, at Fulham I was the tail of the lion. So, you know, like Fulham's a big club,
right,
they should produce players. It should be an easy job as a coach.
Amazing team.
Exactly. Whereas if I think I'm a true coach, I should be able to create top-level players in a town like this. So here, I'm the head of the mouse.
Respectable.
But I like this little mouse. You know, like I'm more in love with this little mouse than just saying I work for Fulham or Philadelphia Union or DC United. So it was really organic how it came about, and quite honestly, we just fell in love with the community. And we say, like my wife and I say, we're not from here, but our children are. You know, my youngest daughter, she was born in the Queen of the Valley Hospital. So I don't think you can get much more Napa than that.
Alrighty.
That's fantastic.
My next thing would be like, will you be able to get us an interview with Clint Dempsey at some point? I know, I'm like shooting for the sky now.
You'd be long down the list.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know.
Mellow with Mellow. If I told him that, he might change his mind.
Yeah, you got to tell him about the mimosas.
Yeah, the mimosas and Mellow.
Mello did mention in the first segment, you have been an instrumental part of developing youth and coaching here in Napa. Can you tell us about some of the players you have coached who have grown and moved on to adult levels, maybe at 1839, maybe at the college level?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about, you don't have to name any names, but some of the players and where they've gone and how that's worked out?
Yeah, well, like Lalo's an obvious one. You know, like he's now doing his thing with the Quakes and doing it great. He kind of came across my path when he was kind of 13, 14. So a lot of the groundwork had already been done with him. Some really good, solid work. You know, like Ed Vargas, who you guys might know.
Yeah.
Like I know he put a lot of groundwork into Lalo. Some of the other guys, like the structure that Eric had kind of introduced at Napa United. So I had a real good opportunity to just kind of like polish him up a little bit. And the kid was hungry. So he's an obvious one. Christian Saha, who came around the path, the similar kind of age. He's now doing this thing at college. And then there's countless other kids, but I take great pride in those ones. But there's other kids who I think Napa United have changed their life in other ways, like not just made them better footballers, not just allowed them to move on to college or maybe even 1839, but just given them a hunger and a belief in themselves as young people. And I think they're the ones, the intangibles that we can't write down on a piece of paper what they've become because of us, but you know, we're out there with them 4 nights a week, weekends games. We've taken them to showcases in Vegas, showcases on the East Coast, showcases in Arizona. And I don't know if they'd have got those life experiences if we hadn't started this journey 4 years ago. So they're the ones that we'll never know. And I see them around town, like they're in jobs now, they've got their own families. And I think more than just good footballers, we try and make sure they're good human beings. Mm-hmm. And I think we do a really good job of that.
That's what a lot of great coaching is. I mean, you're helping kids become adults, whether they're going to play professionally or in college even or not.
100%. 100%.
If you could expand on that a little more, that was great. I mean, to a kid maybe that's not at Napa United, or to kids that are at Napa United that want to be like some of the great players you just named, what is some advice? What's your most common piece of advice that you give those kids?
I ask the kids, there's 2 things. If you ask a group of players, whatever age, who wants to be a professional footballer, I think they're all going to put their hand up. Even if I ask the people in this room now, I think, I want to be a pro. You know, but there's a difference. Yeah, maybe like that. No, you've got everything. Yeah. There's a difference between who wants to be a professional footballer and who needs to be a professional footballer.
Yeah.
And the need is the difference. You know, like I've worked with kids in East London that if they didn't go on this journey, I don't know what they'd have become. So we're trying to change the culture and the mentality here, because it's easy to say you want it, but if you really need it, and that comes with sacrifice. And I don't know how easy that is in today's society. You know, like, these kids have got a lot of good things going on. And we're talking about changing that culture and that structure. That if what you want is truly collegiate level soccer or professional level soccer, you need to change your diet habits, you need to change your lifestyle habits. You're not going to be able to live the same life as your friends.
Yes.
You know, practicing 4 nights a week in August, September is easy, but October, November, January, February, those like colder, wet, dark months, not so easy to get yourself out to the field at 6 to 8 p.m. on those cold nights. So this is what I said at the front end. One of the best coaches I ever worked with, he had that saying, if you respect the game will respect you, and there's no shortcuts. So we're trying to get the players to fully understand that and buy into it.
So yes, Gavin, you did say something about that right now that I wanted to ask you a question. So in England, obviously football is definitely at a different level, right?
Yeah.
So from a young structure, young kids get a different type of training, right? It's out there. I'm not sure if the word is aggressive or intense, but then you come out here and everyone has a whole different mentality. Definitely soccer is not as developed as in England. How do you adapt to all of that when you move into Napa?
I'm fortunate in Napa because I would say it's a very popular sport. But generally speaking, in the US, you're right. We're lucky if it's 3rd, 4th, realistically 5th most popular sport in this country. And the difference that I say is in Europe and South America, they smell the game, right? You know, the kids just know it. You see them show up at the field, you see them watch a game of football, and their relationship with the ball is different. Like, lots of kids in Europe, they're born with a ball at their feet. So their connection with the ball is just intrinsic and in one with the ball. Whereas the average kid in this country, they don't have that same relationship with the ball. But what is definitely changing, the media coverage is changing. 1839 and clubs like that are growing. You know, like Napa are not the only team that have an 1839. That's now happening kind of all over the place. So you're getting a connection to a club and you're seeing a dream of where you could end up playing. Like right now, it's cool to play for Napa United's Academy. We have a fantastic opportunity to play for 1839, you know, with the Legends game that they put on and all of that stuff. So they're becoming immersed in the sport earlier. So they're watching more football, they're practicing more football, they're enjoying it in their own time more. So I think you're seeing a shift in how popular the sport is becoming. If the US do well in the World Cup this coming month,
yes.
We're hosting it in this country in 2026. So there's a lot of positives that I think are going to really tip this sport to be even more popular than it already is.
I think it's important. You make a valuable point too. I mean, it's being played now at more levels than it was before, and kids are starting younger, and also because of clubs like 1839, it's being played closer to year round, like it is in other parts of the world.
It's accessible as well.
It's accessible.
That's the difference. Like before 1839 started, to watch a high-level men's game, you had to trek all the way to San Jose or Sac Republic. That's not easy. By the time you buy the tickets, you couple in the travel, family commitments, what your other people want to do in the household. Now you can easily just say, oh, you know what, I'm taking the kids, there's a 7 o'clock game at Dodge Stadium, and you can watch 60 minutes of it if you don't want to stay for the whole game.
Yes.
And then you're back home and no one's worried because there's not like 2 hours round trip. And for me, and this is weird for me to say this as a coach, I think it needs less structured play. So if you look at the countries develop the best players, and if you do a case study of any of the best players in the world, their first experiences were on the streets or in the favelas or, you know, like in the towns, in suburban built-up areas where it was a 4-year-old playing against a 9-year-old, and if you beat the 9-year-old, chances are you were going to get kicked. Or if it was someone else's ball and you were beating them, they were probably taking the ball home. This country has kind of like over-formalized it. And there's a saying, just generally saying, you know, like paralysis by analysis. And I think there's a little bit of that going on with football, with soccer in this country, because if you look at basketball and those type games, they're the street games. Whereas in all of the other countries in the world that develop the top players, football is the street game. So I want to see more kids just playing on the street, you know, like between the cars outside, in the parks. I think we need to create more avenues for kids to just have what I call pickup games, 4v4s, 3v3s, the fun stuff, because it doesn't always have to be about the coaches.
Fantastic. I had a question about you talked about how you develop players and you do that quite well, proven track record. How do you develop a staff? Because Coach Mark, for example, great staff, and they've had success at 1839. How do you go about developing staff at Napa United?
It's interesting. My boss at Fulham, we had a saying: "You'll never know what a Fulham player looks like till you know what a Fulham coach looks like." So it's kind of like, what is our religion? So the first question I ask any prospective coach for Napa United is, fundamentally, do you enjoy working with young people? Because you can love the game of football, you can know all the drills in the world, but if you don't like working with young people, then you're not going to be good at the job. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is you have to have the same ideas on how the game should be played. And so I like a possession-based game of soccer, but I like individual creativity. So I don't believe in saying it needs to be a two-touch game or a one-touch game, because then you take out the creative players. And what you start to find is the more you have conversations, we'll find out if you and I have similar values on football, and we can start coaching together. I enjoy sitting down and talk with you because I think we've got similar lifestyles. Mm-hmm. It's the same with coaching. If you sit down and talk with a coach and they like the same way of teams playing and developing players, then I think you start to develop your staff. And you've got two choices. You can bring young coaches in and mentor them and shape them and mold them, or you can try and hire externally, and then the search is to find people that have the same values and beliefs of you. And I think we've done both. So I've got a couple of young coaches. I think they're going to be phenomenal coaches. And then we've recently brought a couple of coaches in from outside who are complementing our program.
Gavin, I'm a big 1839 fan, right? I'm a big 1839 fan. So with you creating this amazing project in Napa United, man, it makes me be so excited. From 4 years from now, 2026, hopefully the program still develops into something more. And I feel like with your program going on, I feel like 1839 could go to the next level, which is at a second division level or first division. I just wanted to say thank you for that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you saying that. It's incredible. The potential of what you've got here is mind blowing. With the people at the top end of Eric, Josh, Adam, and the people they're supported by, then the staff that 1839 have got with Mark and Ben, and then myself and Brian, Ronaldo, and the people at Napa United running the academy, it's as close to some of the professional stuff that I've seen going on in England. Now, obviously, Premier League is different. Of course, Championship is different. But then in and around League One and League Two, I don't think our structure is all that different. So now we've got MLS Next as a youth academy. If that can keep growing, and then the men's team can pick their next step, and I say pick their step because I think it's going to be their choice. The landscape of adult soccer in this country is changing fast, but because they're doing such good work, I think they're going to be allowed to pick where they go next. So the pyramid at the bottom should just be any kid that wants to play soccer at any level. My 4-year-old daughter against someone else's 8-year-old kid who's elite, they should be able to find a platform with Napa United. Then as it goes up, it should filter into the peak of the pyramid, which it's almost two-tiered for us, because we definitely want kids to go to college and professional clubs, but equally we want to support Napa United. 1839. Right. So it's a huge opportunity. It really is.
Gavin, the other day, also you and me, I'm just asking a different question now. I just wanted to ask you this on camera, and I know you worked for Fulham at some point, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, just winning back-to-back championships.
Yeah.
At under 18. But when you were working there, which one was your favorite soccer match that you attended?
Fantastic question. There was a few. So Fulham played Juventus in the Europa League semi-finals, and we were losing heavily. And then the last 30 minutes, I think might have been 3-1 we were losing with 30 minutes left. We ended up winning 4-3. To get to the semi-finals and eventually the finals of the Europa League. And for a club of Fulham size, it was unbelievable. So that sticks out in my mind. We beat Manchester United 3-1 at home. That was pretty incredible. But then some of the games that I actually coached in with Fulham's youth team in the FA Youth Cup, we had Chelsea at home in the FA Youth Cup final, first leg. We won that 3-1, I think. That was an incredible game. There was some. The Chelsea team had Ruben Loftus-Cheek in it. Christensen was in it. Tammy Abraham was in it. It was an incredible team of players. So that was a really big game, and our team had 7 or 8 players that are now playing professional as well. So it was that period of my life at Fulham has shaped so many of the things I now do in my life as a human being, as a coach, as a father. So it was a period I was really thankful for.
You have made a lot of professional soccer players, right? Like I was playing in Europe. Like one good example is the fullback from
Salcido.
Oh, Salcido.
Yeah.
Salcido. That was the one. That's another one too.
Yeah.
You worked with Salcido, right?
Yeah, I was at Fulham at the time that he was there. I was in the sports science and medicine department when he was there. So I wasn't his coach, but I was obviously in the department that took care of the players at that period. At that period of Fulham, I wasn't coaching. I was doing my degree in sports science and coaching and human performance, and I was working in the sports science department. So I had a lot of close relationship with the first team players. That's where I met Clint. That's where I met Salcido and lots of the other guys.
Huge. Amazing.
Well, we want to wrap up this great conversation by asking an expert such as Gavin about the big tournament coming up. Dive into it a little bit more. You don't have confidence England has a chance at winning the whole thing. Where are they flawed most?
My problem with England is we don't pick the best players to play the game based on form. There's baggage, there's historical data on why we pick players, and I think Southgate's incredible. He was actually the mentor on one of the coaching courses I did, so I spent some good time with him. But there's always this challenge with the media. The media build it up like we have to win this World Cup. It's not the reality. If we can reach the semi-finals, then that's a great achievement. But even if you look at some of the players that have been out injured, I don't think Maguire should be starting. That's a tough one.
That's an obvious one.
Ivan Toney should have been involved in the roster, but you've seen the recent stuff that's now come out with the betting scandals, so I think that's going to keep him out of the team. Madison should be probably in the starting lineup. There's just so many challenges with the roster, and quite honestly, I don't think we have the mentality. We don't have that deep history of winning things, like Brazil, Germany, Spain, those countries, they've won it so many times that when the going gets tough, they have all of that to fall back on. So I think it's going to be an incredible event. I still can't wrap my head around it being in the winter. That still feels weird. 1 week from now, we'll be preparing for Thanksgiving and World Cup knockout games.
Wait, so I know you said the last one, but now I want to ask this other question. We know that in the World Cup, it's going to be USA versus England, right?
Yeah.
If you don't feel 100% confident with your team, it's the mentality. We have a young team in America. Everyone, it's definitely a process, right?
Yeah.
A project process.
Yeah.
And what do you think the score on that match will be?
I think England are going to take it 2-0.
2-0?
Yeah, I think England will take that game. I really like what the US are doing, and Greg Berhalter is doing incredible things, and some of the young players. But I think you've got a roster for 2026. I think projecting ahead. For me, this should be a year to just give those guys an incredible experience, not too much pressure on them, and build them up for 2026, because it's your home nation. Those players that are playing in Europe will have grown even further. The younger players will be even more established. So I think England should take this game, but 4 years on from now, it's going to be
What about you, Hayden? Before we head out from here, what do you think wins that game?
England, USA?
Yes.
I would still say, I'd have to agree with Coach. I'd have to say England takes it as well. How about you?
I think the USA wins 2-1.
Do you?
Yeah.
We need a little wager on it. What should we have on it?
I don't know. I'm not a good cook.
Let's make it interesting.
But yes. What do you... Dinner?
If England win by the scoreline, I say you have to come and train with our under-19s for a week.
Ooh, for 1 week?
1 week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have to show up.
We've got to get the camera crew in on that.
Yeah.
If that happens.
Yeah.
But if the US wins...
I have to make your coffee at our house for a week.
Yes. Okay.
I love it.
It's there. Yeah. Everyone's seen it.
Well, I have to ask you. You and your dad have another interesting bet. Talk to me about why you feel like Argentina has a good, or you were Brazil. Why do you think Brazil has a good chance? Why does your dad have a good chance to be right? Talk to those two teams.
I feel almost like spiritual about the game of sport, and I feel like Messi, the football gods, should be shining down on him and give him that World Cup. So that's the first thing. But then also, I just think that mentality, the ability to play in the climate, and 3 or 4 of their players are coming of age where I think they're a team that are going to be really hard to beat. And you talk about like that winning mentality, the Argentinians, they are some tough guys. And if it's not them, then I guess I'm in love with the romance of the sport and the yellow of Brazil growing up. Like it's just synonymous with everything I know about international football. And Neymar, similar reasons, just some of those top players. They're the teams I enjoy watching. So maybe that's what it is.
That's a fair statement.
Can't wait for the big game. I wish we could talk all the World Cup teams and groups with you, Gavin. We know you have a team to coach and an academy to run. So thank you so much. This is presented by Bridge Sports. Hayden Larson, Melo Ortiz. Thank you to our guest, Gavin Taylor. Gavin,
Thank you guys.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Gavin, that was beautiful. Good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Not ready to go training, boy.
I've got to get back to fueling the lights. You're going to be out training with me.
Oh, I need to start doing push-ups.